90.3 FM. It's precisely 6:37 p.m. and of course the political spotlight officially commences. My name is Esther Wanchuk. I'm actually glad to be with you here this Sunday evening. I'll tell you something. The year has been quite a lot. To decompact is something else. To start explaining how this year started and how it's ending, the only thing we can say is thank God we are alive. So if you're alive, if you're healthy, if you're strong, if everything in your body is working appropriately as it should, if you haven't landed in the hospital this year, if your children haven't cried of starvation and hunger, if you haven't heard any bad news about your relative, either from home or wherever it is they reside and they're not in close proximity with you, please thank God. Or whatever deity it is that you serve, just be grateful, be gracious, because the benefactor and the benevolence of life is something that is incomprehensible. Science has not been able to depict it, but it's beyond physical explanation. It's beyond the human interpretation of life's existence. So, ladies and gentlemen, all I will tell you is, regardless of the tight corner you found yourself, that you were healthy, you were safe, you're alive, and your close relatives are in good condition, it's worth thanking God. My name is Esther Wanchuk, and we're currently streaming the Political Spotlight live. So go onto YouTube right about this moment and go on the search bar on that application, type at VOP903 FM. Once you do that, then of course, obviously, you can virtually be part of the conversation. So today promises to be quite interesting in how we are going to discuss exactly what some trending stories in Nigeria's political landscape is. And I'll be joined via the telephone with Barrister Eze Eluche. There are quite a lot of issues to actually consider in the political spotlight today. And question is, what are the issues to look into? Quite a lot trended in the course of the week, but some immediate political conversations arose between yesterday being Saturday, December 14, and today being December 15, and tomorrow, obviously, something tremendous is supposed to take place, although we already know, or some of us can assume, what the outcome of that particular situation tomorrow is going to be. So also, you can actually subscribe to my YouTube channel at Estiq Media on YouTube. That's ESTIQMEDIA. ESTIQMEDIA. Subscribing there, right there. A lot of political conversations takes place there, and trust me, it's no holds barred. So you can go in there, comment, give your recommendation, and let's grow the family. What is the first port of call to discuss today? Apparently, the Supreme Court is to rule on President Tinubu's removal based on a fresh suit. If you are listening to the World News at 6, actually talked about it then. The Supreme Court on Monday, December 16, will adjudicate a case that could determine the position of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is facing a new lawsuit seeking his removal from office as Nigeria's leader. The request from the Supreme Court, or rather, the case designated, requests the Supreme Court to remove Tinubu based on two primary allegations: his purported disqualification from holding the presidential office and the unlawful usurpation of that position. Now, we understand that the lawsuit was initiated by Chief Ambrose Albert Owuru, who is a candidate from the 2019 presidential election, who represented the Hope Democratic Party, and he is the one who filed the case directly with the Supreme Court. Now, the defendants named in the lawsuit include former President Mahmoud Buhari, the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC, and current President Tinubu himself. They are listed as the first through fourth defendants respectively. Now, Owuru, who is a lawyer trained in the United Kingdom and admitted to the Nigerian bar in 1982, asserts that he was a rightful winner of the 2019 presidential election, which former President Muhammadu Buhari won, claiming that Buhari unlawfully usurped his presidency since 2015 that Buhari won. Onru believes that he ought to have won that presidential election, but apparently former President Buhari, usurped that win for 8 years. We want to see how that is going to pass on. Now, he contends that the Supreme Court dismissed his previous case against Buhari, which aimed to remove him from office due to a scheduling error in the hearing cases or in the hearing dates. Additionally, Oro is urging the Supreme Court to disqualify Tinubu on the grounds of forfeiture of $460,000 to the United States linked to alleged drug trafficking activities. You recall that the presidential flag bearer for the People's Democratic Party in 2023's presidential election actually used Tinubu of 7 as an active agent of the CIA, a claim he asserts disqualifies Tinubu from assuming the presidency of Nigeria. Now, you recall that just last month, we heard from the CIA the reason why they cannot release some sensitive documentations or, stories or information, sensitive information about Nigeria's current president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. They had alleged that the reason why the FBI could not release about 2,500 records related to President Bola Tinubu's dealings while he was in the United States, also relating to his supposed alleged fake certificates which he presented to INEC, and the 400 alleged fake certificates which he presented to INEC, and the $460,000 which was a reputation for drug trafficking. Apparently, the reason why they couldn't release all of those documents or redacted his name from the 2,500 documents that the FBI claimed could indict the president in some unscrupulous activities was because he was an active CIA. I'm sure quite a lot of us can actually remember that whole situation, right? So Omori is actually saying that based on the premise of these allegations, it actually supposedly is meant to disqualify President Tinubu from continuing to sit in that position or to occupy that office as Nigeria's president. Now, following the declaration as a victor of the 2019 presidential election of former President Muhammadu Buhari and the disqualification of Tinubu on the grounds of ineligibility for the presidential office, this, of course, is Onwuru. He is petitioning the Supreme Court to declare him as the rightful president of Nigeria and to mandate his immediate inauguration to restore his usurped mandate. Furthermore, Oworu is asking the Supreme Court, who has scheduled a definitive hearing on Monday, December 16, just tomorrow. So by tomorrow, we're going to get a live update on what the Supreme Court is going to rule based on what Onwuru is actually filing. A couple of persons will say we already know what the Supreme Court's reaction or judgment is going to be, which will eventually silence the whole entire debacle about the rightful attaining of the presidential seat of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now, Tinubu has been served the hearing notice via the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation. Sources indicate that Chief Olanipekun, a senior advocate of Nigeria, if you will recall, he was a presidential representative during the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal, as well as when the case was in court. Wole Olanipekun actually was the legal representative of President Tinubu as well. So you would recall that obviously he's meant to represent the president tomorrow at the Supreme Court. So he's representing the president tomorrow, being Monday, December 16. The Court of Appeal previously levied a fine of 40 million naira on Onwuru to be paid to President Tinubu, INEC and because 40 million naira is meant to be paid to the president, meant to be paid to INEC, and meant to be paid to former President Muhammadu Buhari for the frivolous lawsuit if Omoro does not have any tenable evidence to prove otherwise on his claim that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu doesn't have the right to occupy that office and that former President Muhammadu Buhari usurped the position because he, Omoro, was meant to be the rightful president as declared because he represented a particular political party. And if he said that former President Muhammadu Buhari usurped that position for 8 years, it means that Omoro is claiming that from 2015, he ought to have been the rightful president. So I don't know how this case is going to pan out tomorrow, but it intends to be quite dramatic or interesting. Or as usual, the court just puts the gavel down and say, Mr. Onru, your case is frivolous. We're filing this out. We don't cut time and make sure you pay a fine of 40 million naira each or something more than that. So it's not going to be surprising to actually hear that particular information. Another situation that trended in the course of the week was we hearing that INEC chair Mahmoud Yakubu is dead. And that particular information actually caught a lot of people off guard. How come we're hearing the particular rumor or speculation that the INEC chairman is dead? You recall that just last month, we also heard that the former chief of defense staff, Taoreed Lagbaja, passed on. Now, somebody posted that on social media, unnamed individual. And when this information came on, immediately the Nigerian army responded, debunking that claim, saying that Taoreed Lagbaja was hale and hearty and he was alive, but he was on medical leave. I'm sure you remember that. Also, the presidency confirmed that Taoreed Lagbaja spoke with the president the following day. That particular information went viral, and that he sounded hale and hearty. And then later, we saw the president swearing in an acting chief of army staff. Afterwards, we now heard officially that Taoreed Lagbaja is dead. So most of the times, when most of this political elites supposedly we hear a rumor that they have passed on, the immediate thing to the actual truth is, so we don't know if this is true or not, but apparently the INEC chair Yakubu has actually disclosed that on a statement signed on behalf by Rotimi Eyekomi, his chief press secretary. Now apparently he is alive and healthy. Yakubu, in a statement, said, I'm going to read out what he said. Our attention has been drawn to a fake news narrative circulated by a section of social media claiming the purported death of the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, at a London hospital. The story first appeared on Monday, 9th December 2024. We hereby appeal to the public to disregard the rumor. Professor Yakubu is alive, hale and hearty. In fact, he has not traveled to London in the last 2 years. The statement said that Yakubu was present at an interactive session with the House of Representatives Committee on Electoral Matters just on Wednesday, 11th December 2024. Both events were widely covered on television and reported in the front pages of most newspapers on Friday, December 13, 2024. Now, you recall on Friday, December 13, we heard that INEC had introduced a new, a new principle on the Electoral Act to be sent to the Senate for approval, which contains about 504 pages. One of that is to generate a computer-generated slip that could be an alternative to your PVC. So if you do not have your PVC, and rather than you having to queue all over or wait for years to get your PVC, just with the computer-generated slip, you can actually get, you can actually be permitted to vote in 2027. That and other measures that were added to the electoral reform. So it was quite surprising when we heard over the weekend that Mahmoud Yakubu has passed on. All right. So interestingly, to also disclose is the fact that the Chief of Defense Staff, Christopher Musa, has responded to IPOB's denial of their involvement in the Southeast insecurity. Chief of Defense Staff is saying that IPOB has always denied, but that is not the truth, that because IPOB is the one responsible for the insecurity in the Southeast. This was via a Monitor television program that he had with one of the major news anchors on primetime and Arise Television in the evening. I would like us to take a brief listen to some of the things he said in clarification to the fight against terror in the Southeast and the fact that they are working very closely to ensure that security is maintained in the Southeast. And of course, talking about calling for national synergy concerning the fact that, according to him, it was a social situation, which involves the fact that the only way the Nigerian military can have the upper hand is if they work together with the people. So let's take a very, very brief listen to the Chief of Defense Staff in this particular interview. And I think from there we can actually head on to other interesting matters. Also that of Omoyele Sowore, via a particular interview as well with a man known as Rudolph Okonkwo, and also known on YouTube as Dr. Damages, where he was asked how did Are Afe Babalola get his riches, and he said that it could be true ritual, although he said it as a joke anyways. But they were talking about the fact that, hey, we have the radicals and we have the conservatives, and how this war, supposed war between Dele Faritimi and Are Afe Babalola will be fought. So in that regard, the question was asked, how do you think he made his money? How do you think he came about his funding? How do you think he's been able to become not just a personality in the legal world? He has become an institution that is highly revered, both in Nigeria and outside Nigeria. And the need for him to clear his name on most of the allegations made by Dele Faritimi in his book, a book that has gone viral, a book that he has actually asked to stop being sold across all platforms, either on Amazon or Roving Heights. For Roving Heights, they have actually stopped that publication, but for Amazon, it's still ongoing. So we don't know how this legal situation will proceed. Let's listen to the Chief of Defense Staff here. Okay, this is happening. Can you hear anything? All right, I'm going to have to put this on speaker. Obviously, it's not playing out. Okay, I sincerely do apologize. I don't know why it's not playing out. There could be a reason for that. But while we try to understand, I think I'm going to check on another platform to see if I could put it here on speaker so we can really hear from the horse's mouth on some of the things that he disclosed. Maybe that way we can have a better understanding of exactly what he means in his declaration. Okay, I think it is all platforms that this is not airing. Unfortunately, I sincerely do apologize for that. Well, the Chief of Defense Staff actually disclosed that IPOB will always deny their involvement in the whole situation with, the insecurity in the Southeast, but that they're already working and synergizing. The audio was already available, so apparently it's not just out there. I don't know why. And then in that particular regard, he went on to disclose that while efforts are ongoing to stabilize insecurity in the Northeast and the North Central, that also in the Southeast, he was asked a question about the several military checkpoints on the road and why we have it like that. Well, the Chief of Defense Staff said that it was a purposeful effort, that most of the frisking activities along that route has actually been able to help them catch a lot of persons that are trying to infiltrate the Southeast with weapons. They've caught a lot of persons with several weapons doing the frisking activity. But then, of course, he encouraged Nigerians to trust the military, that they will be protected based on provided information. He talked about the whole situation as well with Lakurawa and how efforts are ongoing to cut them out. They asked again if they need mercenaries to help them fight insecurity or fight these criminals. And the Nigerian military had said that they do not need any mercenary, that the Nigerian army is capable and they're able to work it out. He disclosed that they're already trying to manufacture their weapons. He disclosed he's just coming from Jaji and they're working on manufacturing their weapons. What they need is weapons. That's what they need. An off-the-bench resolve, especially if Farotimi decides. An off-the-bench resolve, especially if Farotimi decides to be humble in this whole situation. So let's take a brief listen to this man via Monitor television program, and obviously we'll continue our conversations there.
Activism is not a license for irresponsibility. Activism is not a license for recklessness. Activism does not give you a license to libel people and destroy reputations that have been built over decades. That's not what is called activism. That's irresponsibility. Granted, the system of administration of justice in Nigeria is not perfect. And tell me, where is the perfect system all over the world? There is none. As long as human beings are involved, there must be imperfections. For you to now dwell excessively as if nothing good happens, everything is bad, everything is evil, because you want to sell a book, because you want to boost your social media following, I think it's mostly irresponsible. Mostly irresponsible. So it's not about saying that there's nothing wrong. We know that there are challenges in the profession. We are dealing with the challenges in our profession, just as there are challenges in every sector of the country. There are challenges in every sector. And not only in Nigeria, the human system is always a moving target. Human development is also always a moving target. In fact, somebody said the biggest room in the world is the room for improvement. We know there are challenges and we're tackling these challenges. New laws are being made, laws are being amended, but for someone to wake up and say that everything is bad, everything is evil, nothing works, and you're expecting that same system to protect you. You're expecting that system to protect your rights. I think it's preposterous. I think it's unfortunate. I think it's unbecoming, to say the least. I think it's unbecoming, to say the least. I'm not talking about individuals. I'm not talking about individuals. You don't pull down a structure. You don't pull down an entire system because you have an axe to grind, maybe with an individual. And here is an individual who was not even involved in this case. From High Court, Court of Appeal to the Supreme Court. It was only after the judgment of the Supreme Court had been delivered that the eminent chief was requested to write a letter with a view to enhancing the enforcement of the judgment. So it is unfortunate that we are not able to distinguish between an individual and an institution. So I think the argument regarding this young man's write-up is not about David and Goliath fighting. That's not the issue. The issue is, can anybody just wake up any day and write any rubbish and expect everybody, to be clapping for him? Because we're in an age of social media, people are free to say anything they want to say. There are no editors. Nobody edits anything that goes on social media. This book is self-published. I don't think edited it. It's full of errors, full of factual errors, blunders, all kinds of blunders. And yet you are now celebrating because people have developed itchy ears, looking for some scandal, looking for this tendency of bringing down syndrome. People who have built their reputation, justices of the court who have built their reputation over the years, and now somebody just wakes up somewhere and says they are all bad, everybody is bad. No, that's not good for our society. It's not good for our country, and that's not what activism is all about. There are activists. We know people like Chief Gani. We have, we have challenges in our profession, and we are dealing with it. The leadership of the profession is dealing with it. The Chief Justice of Nigeria is dealing with it.
We were serving, and of course, I understood that. Look, we had actually shortchanged Nigerians.
So, in one sense, APC deceived Nigerians. They were not actually for the people. They were actually to grab power. Is that what you're saying?
No, APC used Nigerians and the common people because, the Buhari hurricane in 2015 was sponsored by Nigerians. Every kobo spent, apart from the big politicians who were donating aircrafts, which was also used by themselves for the campaign. And the common people, you remember, were my country, I will go and serve. I serve my country. But the party with which I was one of the strongest members at conception and even the campaign. I brought much to the table in 2015. I mobilized 560 clergies, bishops, reverend fathers to endorse Buhari on the 13th of February 2015. Was, not even. Eliminate the word was.
But Buhari was a catch, isn't it? People wanted the exit of PDP, thinking that Buhari was the Messiah at the time. But now there are those who will say Buhari was a disaster. Those who do not see that Buhari did anything good in that 8 years will think that Buhari wasn't the best for Nigeria at the time. What happened?
Buhari was also used and done. Charisma was needed at that point in time by the political elite to eliminate Jonathan. And shortly after Buhari had taken over power, these set of political elite emerged and hijacked government. And Buhari was a stranger. I can say this at any point in time. Buhari was a stranger in his own government. And I can corroborate this because I went to see the president in 2020 when I was out of office. And I told him, Mr. President, this wasn't what we told Nigerians. And that I have conscience. We campaigned and convinced Nigerians. And when I look at the type of investment the common people put in our government, and here we are today with insecurity. When we came in, it was only the Northeast. As at 2020, I told him it was not possible to even travel from Abuja to Kaduna. And I dared him. I said, Mr. President, if you disbelieve what I'm saying, or what I was saying, please roll out brigade of gas now, and I join you. We drive from Abuja to Daura, and I promise him that if bandits do not attack him, I will go and die in exile. I briefed him about the security situation, about the hardship, and to be very fair to the president, he expressed surprise, meaning from my own judgment, some of the things I said were things he was hearing them for the first time. But I'm not surprised such has happened. Because even when we were in government, it has happened. It was me who, even at the Federal Executive Council meeting, that informed him when a DSS and EFCC were trigger drawn in Asokoro here for 3 days. They held the entire environment hostage, and the president didn't know. It was everywhere on the press, print media.
But the president, the
Nigerian presidency till today.
Really, it's still under Tinubu government.
No, Tinubu has even the most sophisticated cabal.
Really,
worse than Buhari. Buhari's cabal was a group of uninformed people with little experiences. That was why they were deep. That was available. But Tinubu is a sophisticated group of people who had been long in power, and they know power. They are also informed, so they are more dangerous than any other cabal that have ever known and seen.
So there is cabal in Tinubu's government, and we need to fear them more because, according to you.
I'm sure you heard Solomon Dalong right there in that interview with Shane Okimbaloye on the Micon podcast, where he actually affirmed that there is a strong cabal within President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. Although you remember on several occasions or twice right now, the presidency has debunked that rumor that there is a cabal controlling the president or telling the president what to do. The president has affirmed that he is solely in charge of the activities of his government, and that nobody, I repeat, he says nobody is in control of his government, nobody is in control of his administration. There is no cabal whatsoever dictating to him what to do, how to act, how to behave, dictating to him the economic policies that he's been making, and that he's currently aware of all the situation ongoing in the country. So I don't know why Solomon Dalong has kept on insisting. This is not the first time he's coming up with this particular story that there are strong cabals within the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari as well as that of President Tinubu. In the case of Buhari, he sort of exonerated him, saying that this cabal isolated him from knowing certain things because they don't want him to have a heart attack, and that they're tougher in this administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Well, I actually have Barrister Eze Eluche, who will be joining me via the telephone this evening on the Political Spotlight to give us his insight on some of these issues, and of course definitely we'll get your your reactions from there. Barrister Eze Eluche, good evening, welcome to the Political Spotlight.
Yeah, good evening and thank you for the invite.
Thank you so much, Barrister Eze Eluche. First off, let's head on. Apparently tomorrow, the Supreme Court, is to adjudicate on a case that could determine the position of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. There is a new lawsuit seeking his removal from office as Nigeria's leader. Now, the person who actually initiated that lawsuit was Chief Ambrose Albert Owuru. He was a candidate, right, from the 2019 presidential election, who represented the Hope Democratic Party, and he filed the case directly with the Supreme Court. Now, according to Albert Owuru, he is saying that he was the one who was supposed to win the 2019 presidential election under former President Muhammadu Buhari. That's the election he won, that Buhari usurped that position. He usurped the 8 years of that. Now, he wrote to the Supreme Court. Initially, the Supreme Court had fined him 40 million naira to pay a fine as to President Tinubu
for trying to waste the time of the court. Actually, the litigant the most, and this issue is coming up as a surprise at the time when Nigerians are focused on more serious issues. How to ensure that this candidate, this Bola Tinubu, does not stay beyond Mahmoud Yakubu in, because no Nigerians did not vote Mr. Bola Tinubu in. So that is what the of Nigeria ensure that under whatever guise, Bola Tinubu does not exceed the term he is currently serving. He should be legitimately removed from office. But this particular sounds and looks frivolous. I don't know what the man is expecting. It's ridiculous. I mean, I'm sure the court will. I think a fine of 100 million is quite distracted.
All right. Okay, so let's look at a situation about the INEC chairman Mahmoud Yakubu, of information about his death, which came out yesterday. On Friday, Mahmoud Yakubu out an addition to the
Do whatever he can do. He can manipulate the system in any way he desires. But the reality is that the optics do not favor him. The facts on ground do not favor him. The reality Nigerians are observing does not favor him.
that could put Delifaro to me in a twist.
I mean, Pharaoh to me comes out shining as a star from all this process. The efforts to must bring him, to derail him, to detract him, only raising him to a superstar. And unfortunately for Afe Babalola, the longer this matter lasts, superstars. And unfortunately for Afe Babalola, the longer this matter lasts, the more he's dragged in the mud. The reality, whether it's his chambers or his person, the reality is that if he, as a senior lawyer, ought to have known that the ideal thing he should have done was to sue Mr. for libel, for defamation, as a civil action. Maybe claim $1 billion, claim 10 billion or whatsoever, and let the court determine whether he was actually defamed, than to go this route of petitioning and then only to have this senior lawyer to be handcuffed. I mean, if you remember, this was the same way that the late sage Ganifa and he was handcuffed several times, and each time he was handcuffed, he came out shining better. So Mr. Afe Babalola messed up big time with this process, and the fact that the Nigerian police was allowed itself to be used in this way, that some judges are also allowing themselves to be used in this process, only serves to tell the entire world, the whole world, that the allegations made by Dele Pharaoh in his book, that the Nigerian judiciary is used as a tool by some to witch hunt others, is being enlarged to the whole world to see, and it's quite unfortunate. And then one thing I must always caution: Nigerians will never break a secret trial for Dele Pharaoh. Whatever trial they want, it must be open court, and it must be accessible to everybody. And in that instance, it will become clear to all that indeed we have a message.
Fought in the Trouble region, urging Arabweze and their bandwagons to desist from their violent Biafra campaign, a petition to the Weze. The damning petition, which was cited by Newsband, is calling on United States Department of Justice to immediately arrest and charge Dr. Arabweze, a practicing nurse in the United States, with mass murder. So this group just formed. Simon Ekpa's account has been freezed, all his assets freezed. They placed him in Kilmakoski's, ranked as one of the world's toughest prisons of the Finnish government. Now he's been transferred to one of the toughest prisons in Finland, and already it's a chaotic situation ongoing there. So what does this mean for those who are still standing on the Biafran dream?
Well, it has nothing to do with the Biafran dream, like you call it. This so-called Biafran government in exile is just crafted by some characters to give themselves some. It amounts to a nullity. It's an aberration. It's simply non-existent. And these young chaps who are doing this, I can assure you, they are smiling home to the bank, deceiving those who are helpless and who are unable to discern. And the entirety of all their claims to defense minister is all nonsense, absolute nonsense. Has no bearing, no relevance to the reality of the Igbos in southern Nigeria. And the fact that they are being arrested in Finland, tried, even upon discussion of this Biafran government exam, give them relevance which they do not deserve. And it is here in Nigeria that the issues will be addressed. And that there are ways at self
of this. So does this actually what would you advise a lot of stakeholders who actually believe that at some point in time the Biafran dream will be achieved? What would you advise them to do? A lot of persons really want to continue with keeping the hope alive, seeing how they can contribute to achieving the cause. What would you advise?
Now, when you say the Biafran dream, if you recollect, the Biafran territory are included in those days during the war. It included areas like Ogoja, Port Harcourt, Buguma, Ikom, and all those areas, who may not be interested for now.
Yes.
Kind of division. So the issue is that dream has lapsed. Now, what should the ideal now is the issue of self-determination, self-actualization, and then you now have to localize it to peoples. Do the people of the Southeast region, are they interested? And if they're interested in the nation, they would carve out a name for themselves at the appropriate. The joke of this EPA and was exposed to the full fair when they mentioned 40 states and whatever, and it was so ridiculous. They were talking of the Godomido, Kala.
Yes.
And it was a joke. To anybody who does not know that these guys took us, those 40 states they listed out without any question, without any state capitals or relevance with the territorial people on ground, we expose them as jokers. So now how what I understand you asking is, how do we address the issue of marginalization, the issue of injustice being meted out of the people of the Southeast? And that is what has been a steady issue. And then groups like the Honese, the various sociocultural groups who are rooted on ground are best suited to go forward and address it. And then the way to address it is to continue to engage with the system, maybe through the political, through politics or through international appeals, and you will see it beginning to manifest. Let's go. If you have been following the interface between the leader of the British conservative, that she only aligns herself with the UN, not Nigeria, that she has nothing to do with northern Nigeria. Now, these are facts coming up, and when people of that caliber...
State INEC Baribe has claimed the Igbos are the most disenfranchised and marginalized people in Nigeria. The senator made this known in Abuja just yesterday, or that is Saturday, December 14, during a public presentation of a book. And in that particular public presentation, he was represented at the occasion by Senator representing Abia North South Federal Constituency on the platform of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, Alex Mascot Ikweche. And they said there is an imbalance within the nation's political environment. The senator insisted that allocating only 5 states to the Southeast is unfair. And he also called on Nigerian citizens and politicians to embrace the optimism to make the country better. What do you have to say about this in conscription to the agenda by the Biafran government in exile, Ngozi Oraweze, the supposed rise and fall of the Biafran dream, and what Kemi Badenoch is saying concerning Nigeria and attributing herself to a certain tribe while alienating other regions?
I very much align myself with what Senator Abaribe has stated. Okay. Igbos are the most the most marginalized, the most cheated, and it is worst in this regime of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Look at the amount of ministers, the amount of appointments he gives to his ethnic group. These are the things that tell you that Nigeria is not a nation. Anybody that goes in there just tries to corner everything to his own family, to his own pockets, to his own ethnic group. Look at the number of Yorubas that Bola Tinubu has appointed to high government offices. Virtually everything that has to do with finance, the CBN, Inland Revenue Service, everything about finance is domiciled in the Yoruba land. What kind of nonsense is that? So the issue is that the reality is that the Nigerian state has been most unfair. The Igbos are now have been pushed to the periphery of the Nigerian state, and this cannot continue. If you don't want the people to be part of the country, you let them go. And don't continue to force them in and then maltreat and dehumanize them. And it has been worst under the regime of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And this is right, and it has to be addressed. So I very much align myself with the comment
but it started within the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari. And also former President Muhammadu Buhari appointed most of his cronies as well from his region in top government positions. So would you just say it's a Bola Tinubu thing, or it's something that started off with this administration, the APC?
No. I agree. Comments of Senator Abaribe, the Igbos are serious comments of Senator Abaribe. The Igbos are seriously marginalized, and you cannot continue to marginalize such an important population and expect all things to all go well. And that is why the Igbos will continue to agitate for nation and it to be done in a proper way, in a recognized and legitimate, and that does not terrorism or violence, but it will be achieved because the cause we are looking for is a just cause, and the country that is denied the
posted him. So it's time for you to be part of the conversation this evening. Let's hear what you think concerning some of the issues that were raised up here on the political arena. I started off with the fact that the president will appear in the Supreme Court, supposedly is meant to appear at the Supreme Court tomorrow, a case that was filed by particular Chief Albert Omuru, saying that he was supposed to be the one to be named as the president way back in 2019 during the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari. He was saying that he ought to have won that election and not Muhammadu Buhari at the time. He's also basing his premise on the fact that the president ought to be disqualified because of the $460,000 he paid for a drug trafficking allegation and the fact that he was named as an active CIA agent of the United States of America, and that is not what the attributes of a present sitting president of this country has to have as part of his prerequisite or attached to his personality at all. Then also we talked about the supposed rumored death of INEC chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, which circulated yesterday, although he has debunked it and come out to say it's not true. His media aide came out to say he's very well and alive and it's just the workings of mischief makers. So where did this rumor emanate from if it was false? And then we attributed it or linked it with the same supposed rumor that we had a month or 2 months ago about the former chief of defense staff, Taoreed Lagbaja, who we heard via the supposed rumor that he has passed on, where the Nigerian army came out to deny it. The presidency also came out to deny it, and later we heard that indeed he had passed on. So where is the story coming from all of a sudden that he has passed on, and why were Nigerians elated at the prospect of that kind of information to hear at this particular point in time? All right. We also talked about Dele Faritimi as well, and Are Afe Babalola, his book and the conspiracy theories that has emanated from it, and how the case will continue to proceed because there are more legal petitions written from Ogun State, Abuja, as well as Lagos. So, or rather Ekiti as well. So how would he deal with all of this, and when will he be given an opportunity to get the required, what you would say, ahead please, I can hear you.
Yes, I demand the file application against the sitting president.
Yes.
Is he slow down? Is he dreaming or is trying to maybe? Is he dreaming or is trying to maybe? What is his in mind? He should understand how the military institution play out in Nigeria now. Why not join effort with other opposition parties?
Yeah.
To see what he can do in 2027 by filing application against the city president. I continue to imagine from
08171756 That's the WhatsApp number. While the number to call is 0700.
Police, maybe. I believe that the book was that. I believe that the book that was written by Dele Faritimi is a premeditated defamation of character when it comes to libel. He had known all these things before because he himself, that Faritimi, said that he lost a case in the Supreme Court, due to libel. He said against Afe Babalola, and that he won the case from the Federal High Court to even the Appeal Court, only for it to be overturned at the Supreme Court, probably due to the influence of Afe Babalola. So this is why I think it's a premeditated defamation of character. And it should be dealt accordingly, because when you have defended the character of such a human being, that is that. Then for those people who are carrying the rumor of the death of the chairman of INEC, they should be very careful. Because if it is not true, they may find themselves dying unselfishly even before their own time. So even before their own time, and probably they may die before Mahmoud Yakubu. So they should be very careful in carrying such rumors.
All right.
Not because maybe they don't think they do that.
All right, Peter. All right, we need to take more calls. All right, Peter, thank you so much. 0700 903 903 903. That's the number to call. 0700 903 903 903. And we have some WhatsApp messages already coming in, so I would implore you to keep on sending them. I'm going to read them out.
Happy Sunday to you.
Same to you. What's your name?
Hey, my sister. My name is Good News.
Your name is Good News.
Yeah, my name is Good News.
All right, Good News. Please give me the good news.
No, I don't have any good news to give you. I just want to praise you for your good work where you do.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well done, my dear.
All right, thank you. Okay, thank you so much. Good news. Good news called in to wish me good news and good well or good health. Thank you for your appreciation. 0700 903 903 903. That's the number to call. Also, send your messages to 0817 1756 338. Good evening, sir. Welcome to the Political Spotlight. What's your name?
My name is Ifeanyi. I'm calling from Satellite.
You're calling from?
From Satellite.
Satellite. Okay, all right, Ifeanyi.
Yes.
Compliments of the season. Please go ahead.
Thank you. My contribution is on the matter that concerns the piece about the
messages 0817 1756 338. That's the WhatsApp number, so you can send your WhatsApp messages there. Hello, good evening. Welcome to the Political Spotlight. How are you?
Yeah, hello, Sofo. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Yeah, my name is Sarome. I'm calling from Yanataja.
Oh, Sarome. All right, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, you see, I've known if person speaks the truth, they will say, bring and make we kill her. Some of us like somebody that we see black, say it is white. I've known Prince Wire to be a supporter of evil.
Prince Wire?
Make I talk him.
Hello?
Hello?
There's no Prince Wire here. Hello? All right, we're beginning to have drop calls. 0700 903 903 903. That's the number to call. 0700 903 903 903. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir. What's your name, please, and location?
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. What's your name? Please, I think you're in a noisy environment. Can you?
I'm calling from Melata.
All right, sir. Go ahead then.
Yes, the issue of Samuel, actually the state government has tried. He's now in the prison, incarcerated him and get all the proceeds from his daughter's ad free. Not only that, I think they should also step forward to make sure that all the sponsors are apprehended. I know that there are so many people that are sponsoring this man in Nigeria and the diaspora also. So they should go ahead. Even the Nigerian government should help to fish out all his sponsors, because there are some people that are being paid. These people have continued in the fact is some of them are being paid salary. So we have to freeze all the proceeds from his criminal act and all his good. That's one. Then someone calling to abuse Prince Wyatt. His wife is not, has not called to this program. He has normally called from a Mahmoud office. And it's not a supporter of evil. Please, everybody is entitled to his opinion. Anybody that's coming to donate anybody should be corrected. Like this is a public radio. So Prince Wyatt is therefore, let's make his point very clear. Just like Peter Suma is calling that. Please, we should not address it in this manner.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. 0700 903 903 903. That's the number to call. 0700 903 903 903. Hello, good evening. Welcome to the Political Spotlight. If you call and you don't turn off your listening device or your radio, I'm going to cut you off. It's quite disconcerting. Always turn off your radio. Hello, good evening. Yes, good evening, sir. How are you? Name and location, please.
I'm looking fine. How are you too?
I am fine. What did you say your name is?
My name is Carlo. I'm calling from Ota, Ogun State.
Wow, Carlo, that's nice. Thank you for calling all the way from Ogun State. Please go ahead before the network disappoints us.
First of all, let me wish Mahmoud Yakubu long life.
Okay.
Then secondly, in certain eastern part of this country, it is generally, it's like we have eaten the jackpot porridge. You understand? And secondly, we are not Islam, we are not attached to Islam, and that is why the leadership of this country have been leading us. That is the way I see it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for calling.
Thank
All
you,
right.
and God bless you.
Yes, you're welcome. 0700 903 903 903. That's the number to call. 0700 903 903 903. Hello, good evening. Welcome to the Political Spotlight. Name and location, please. Hello. Hello, you're live.
Hello.
Yes, hello. Good evening. Name and location, please.
My name is Francis. I'm calling from Ifo.
Francis, calling from E4.
Okay. I want to comment on the issue of Biafra.
Okay.
What I want to advocate in that, the issue of Biafra, the government has to make a stand and say something about it. It's not a child issue. Issue of Biafra, the government has to make a stand and say something about it. It's not a child issue. For them to keep it over it, it's a right. So we Biafra, we want a state of Biafra, because we are not adopted in Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you for calling. 0700 903 903 903. That is the number to call. 0700 903 903 903. After this call, I'll start reading out your WhatsApp messages. Hello. Good evening. Please, when you call, turn off what you're listening to. Turn off your radio. It's disconcerting. All right.
What are the people?
Yes. Thank you so much. What's your name, sir?
Yeah, my name is Yakubu. I'm calling from Lagos.
All right. Okay. Please go ahead.
Yeah, health contribution this time is and it's a matter of IPOB and Biafra issue. I said that this Biafra issue, people are not taking it serious. Like that Simon Edana that is in Finland, he's supposed to block down Trading. Who are you working for? But to defend him in Finland, I don't think that thing they are defending him is very okay.
He's been kept in one of the toughest prisons in Finland, one of the toughest prisons where they keep their tough criminals. So, and that's where the case emanates from. You said?
So that's my own opinion. I said let them bring him down to Nigeria so that they will him and then Nandekano will see one-on-one and talk and know how
an understanding of how to deal with it. So another WhatsApp message here. Pardon me, I'm reading from the phone, so I need to make sure that I read from those who have sent their messages earlier. Okay?
If you find out, you know that sometimes there is a truth in every in every information. It may be the inner calculus of the the INEC. It may be, but we don't know. You understand? Okay. But the only thing is that the Bible says what a man sow is God.
All right.
Please, someone share with that speaker.
Okay,
God
don't worry,
you.
they will help you.
God.
All right.
Please, someone share with that speaker.
Okay,
God
don't worry,
you.
they will help you. 0700 903 903 903, and the WhatsApp number is 0817 1756 338 0817 1756 338. That's the WhatsApp number to send your WhatsApp messages to. Hello, good evening. How are you? Welcome to the Political Spotlight. I told you to always turn off your radio when you call. You can't call in and want to listen to yourself. Please, all right? Okay? 0903 903 903 0700 903 903 903. Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you for taking my call.
Yes, good evening.
Yeah, this is Jude from Egbeda.
Jude from Egbeda.
Yes.
All right, Jude, please go ahead.
Yeah, I want to comment concerning the INEC chairman.
Okay.
Why is it including Nigeria, the record or the announced person date that Harun died? Two times. Those people in power. Why? Okay, now those people that bring the information out, they find it. Those people that bring information, that is what to stop. Same thing you announce now. And can they find it out? Why is it Nigeria? Those people in power that could we are Nigeria together?
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for calling. Yes, you're welcome. 0700 903 903 903. That's the number to call. And the WhatsApp number to send your messages to is 0817 1756 338. Hello, welcome to the Political Spotlight. Good evening. Okay, that's a drop call. Please kindly call back. Hello, good evening. Welcome to the Political Spotlight. How are you?
Good evening, Sister Esther.
How are you,
Good
sir?
evening.
Name and location, please, sir.
My name is Peter. I come from Lepo.
All right, Peter, go ahead.
Please, I want to say something about Biafra and the Easterners.
All right, go ahead,
What
sir.
I want to say is this. Nigeria, I used to look at Nigeria since 2015 to now. Easterners look at say they are not Nigerian. Now, my own is this. And they are talking about they want to go. They want to come up from Nigeria. Because not that because they don't want Nigeria. If you look at Nigeria, they are the one that are contributing a lot of things. But because the way they're handling them, marketing them.
Okay.
If you look at this, good as seaport, you not approve it. The good God doesn't approve it. They approve it for long. Nobody's touching it. You know, worry, Onisha, all those things. Everybody look at it, say they are not among. Then they are one Nigeria. And if they know, say, they don't want to Easterners, which is Igbo, let them leave them to go. There's no need to delay them. Then this one, Biafra is not association. Nigeria is not association. If you say, are you a Nigerian? Yes. So far as you are Nigerian, the point here, you are a Nigerian. So Igbo man who the Papa had to war 1967 to 1970. So far as they're born and there, any point, whether man or woman is the Biafra. They don't fight that, that name is prepared. Nothing they will do, make the clean them. So what is there that what are supposed to take there? So people really go to the politicians. Not they know like everybody does what to sell. Not they join hands.
Okay.
Take a referendum. If they do referendum, nobody votes. Then not that they want to Nigeria. If they do make referendum, if they vote to the want to be Nigeria, yes, they didn't go. So let me push for referendum. That's my own. Biafra is not association. It's the country.
All right.
It's everybody there. So far as speaking, you are a Biafran.
All right, thank you. Thank you for calling. All right. 0700 903 903 903. Before I take more calls, let me read out some messages that have already been sent. Good evening to you and good evening, Esther. Good evening to you and your guest. You might be surprised to hear the Nigerian government was sponsoring Simon Ekpa because most actions of his weren't supported by those he claimed to be fighting for. Igbos don't really want to be president, but good governance, Igbos want referendum and the release of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. You didn't put your name. Please always put your name when you send messages here, all right? Okay, so good evening. Crew Olamide come from Lagos, beautiful Nubia, said in his song that it's money that we know. We do not look at character, we look at faces and not look at competency. That is why ignorant men choose Agbaris to rule over them. When you choose people because it's Yoruba or it's from my state or religion, corrupt, lawless and above the law, over competence, capacity, credibility and vision, the result is this nightmare we are in Nigeria today. I am surprised that some low-grade mind persons will defend this government looking at the nightmare we're facing in Nigeria. Let it be known that if that cash and carry INEC and judiciary had done his homework well by not allowing people who use fraudulent certificate to enter power, we wouldn't be in this nightmare. Also, if they had done a free and fair election in Nigeria, we wouldn't be in this mess. It's a shame the worst of us is ruling the best of us. Truly, there was a country. Dyer from Fagwa. All right, Dyer, well done. Quite a long message. Good evening, VOP. Mr. Chilaka says Igbos are marginalized. South says they are marginalized. Southwest says they are marginalized. North Central says on air, please. Don't call your number on air. Send your message via SMS.
Need money. I need job.
You need job or drug?
Drug.
Yeah, that's why I said send a message. Joy, send a message to 08171756 Kindly look for somebody that has a WhatsApp message to take your picture. We can't just put you out there and no authentication. It could be if it's true, and if anyone is helping you, the person is truly helping you, and the person is not being siphoned or being duped or taken advantage of their empathy. All right, please join. Remember that. Hello, good evening. Welcome to the Political Spotlight. How are you?
Good evening, Esther.
Yes, good evening. How
My
are
name
you?
is Marshall.
All right,
I'm calling
Marshall.
you from Ikeja. I'm doing good.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. First of all, compliments of this evening.
Same to you,
I
Marshall.
want to thank you for the good work you're doing.
Thank
God
you.
bless you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. So, what I just want to comment on is about Mahmoud Yakubu. I want to wish him long life and prosperity. But one thing is certain: whatever a man sows, whether good or bad.
Okay.
Right? So there's no need for anybody to
Say it is like this or that, like that. Mahmoud didn't say it is like this or that, like that. Mahmoud himself.
Spotlight on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. My name is Esther Machuku, and we're currently streaming live on YouTube. So you can actually, this is the time for you to actually send in your recommendations, your criticism, and your contribution to some of the political highlights that I actually talked about here, along with my guest who joined me via the telephone to give his own perspective or purview on the questions asked him, and that's Barrister Eze Eluche. Hello, good evening. How are you? Hello, good evening. All right, that's a drop call, 0700 903 903 903. That's the number to call, and the WhatsApp number is 0817 1756 338. That is the number to send your messages to. Hello, good evening. Wow, that call dropped. So let me take some WhatsApp messages. All right, okay. You don't need to be surprised for seeing the governor of Edo State struggling to pronounce a figure. What do you expect when you only need primary school certificate to govern Amobi from 7 and 8? Nobody should blame Kemi because nobody likes to associate with failure. Amobi from 7 and 8. Well done, Amobi. Thank you for your message. All right, okay. So I think this is a video. Is this from? Okay. All right. I've seen your video. Okay. All right. Okay. I've seen this. Very good. All right. Okay, no problem then. 0700 903 903 903. Please send your name again so I call it out. All right, you, the person who sent this video, send your name again so I can call it out and then call out your number in case anyone is interested. All right, please send your name again so I verify it. Hello, good evening. How are you? Good evening. How are you? I'm fine. Welcome to the Political Spotlight. What's your name?
My name is Godwin.
Your name is?
My name is Godwin, calling from Abulegba.
All right, Godwin from Abulegba, please go ahead.
What I want to make comment on issue of Biafra.
Okay.
You know, one thing is that whatsoever that comes out from mouth must surely come to exist. I think you understand.
Yes, sir.
This Biafra has been mentioned since 1967. And now it's still existing. One thing is that what they're supposed to do now is to at least come dialogue, sit together, and to dialogue how things will be, so that everything will move normally. By the way we are moving it like this, it will not all go well. I think you know.
Yes.
So it's better we sit together and dialogue everything. I am telling you, I think it is. This morning while we are talking, I think formerly it was a rap was wicked.
Yes.
From was wicked to
Nnamdi Kanu.
From Nnamdi Kanu now.
And now it's Ngozi Oraweze.
So what my own idea is for them to call together and dialogue everything together so that things will be easy.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much.
Very much.
All right, you're welcome. 0700 903 903 903. We'll soon be wrapping up the program. We'll have another program coming up very soon. So you can actually call the number or send WhatsApp messages on 0700 903 903 903 and 0817 1756 338. Hello, good evening. How are you? All right, that's a drop call. Please call 0700 903 903 903. Let me read some messages on YouTube. CTV said they also denied Lagbaja's death. Priscilla Anurika says, Madam, our Prime Minister is fine and Madam Ngozi is doing her work well. So all the news is fake. She spelled it as FECK. Okay, all right. If you say the news is fake, but this is basically what is out there. You can check Newsband and all the news outlets all over all the news outlet. Or his account frozen, and he's being kept within the highest prison in Finland until he's up here next year. So I don't know how you say that's fake news when you're not in Finland yourself. But if you're there, please kindly help us send pictures and verify if all the stories across most of the majority of the headlines or national dailies are false. Christian Godfrey says the chief of army staff was not honest, period. Why is he allowing terrorist Asari to terrorize innocent unarmed civilians as well as allow his extortionist bandit soldiers humiliate Southeasterners? Oji Ugochukwu says, Arumeru fake news. Okay. Christian Godfrey says, what a freaking liar. Yes, Buhari was living under a rock. Okay, no problem. Charles Femi says, hi. Hi, Charles. Good evening. Welcome to the Political Spotlight and thank you for joining us virtually. Hello. Good evening. How are you? All right. Hello. You're live. All right. That's a drop call. 0700 903 903 903. That's the number to call. I can take 2 more calls and let me check out some WhatsApp messages here. Hello. Good evening.
Hello. Good evening.
I've told you when you call, turn off what you're listening to. It's disconcerting. It's wrong. It's bad radio ethic. All right. When you call, turn off your radio or you stay far away from your radio, because there's always a feedback with that. Okay, so okay, give this Nigerian government 2 weeks. They tell us the truth about INEC chairman Onyekachi Nwachukwu from Ajaoi State. All right, Onyekachi. Hello, good evening. Hello.
Yeah, good evening. Hello, good evening, Esther.
Yes, good evening. What's your name?
My name is Bright from Ogba.
All right, Bright. Go ahead.
Yeah, good evening. I just want to comment on you. You are doing a good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, God will bless you.
Thank you.
I think I'm a first-time caller, although I normally listen to your program both evening and night.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. So God bless you. Continue your good job.
Thank you, Bright. I sincerely do appreciate you calling in. All right. Okay, so let me take one final message and then we'll wrap up the Political Spotlights edition for this week until next week, Sunday. Okay, so, let me see. More messages. Good work, Esther. Charles Valentine from Ifakoijari Ogba. Keep it up, fine girl. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Charles Valentine, for your message. I appreciate your compliment. So, if Afe Babalola said that Dele Farotimi defames him, can Afe Babalola go into his room and look at himself in the mirror and ask himself, am I guilty of what Dele Farotimi wrote? Then if he's guilty, let him leave the activist alone. Chiemere from Agbara. Wow. It doesn't work like that, all right? It doesn't work. I think he needs to clear his name, and that's why he's going all out like this. So I just hope that Dele Farotimi is given an opportunity to defend himself. This person sent a text message, and he says, good evening, Esther. In every room war, there's always an Ayator.
They have been arrested.
Who are the men and where? Oh, Samanapa was arrested in Finland, not in Nigeria. So who's the other person?
I know.
Okay, so who's the other person?
Then our president leader, Uncle
Ngozi Arabweze. That's within the camp. Nobody arrested her. It's at the political wing of IPOP that is asking for her to be arrested. They're calling her a mass murderer. So that has to do with the whole Biafran government and exile group. They're the ones having some issues with her.
When are they going to release my name?
I said, what is the truth about Simon Ekpa that you know that you think the Nigerian government is deceiving Nigerians about concerning him?
What I don't ask what I know. Let me tell you.
No, what's your truth? What's your truth? You.
Okay. Excuse me.
All right. You know what? You don't have time. My colleague has already entered the studio. We need to wrap up. All right. Thank you for calling. Before I get handcuffed here by Tochukwu Kasmar to handsome. All right. Those of you who called and I couldn't pick, I sincerely do apologize. And then for some of you who sent messages and I couldn't read it out, I sincerely do apologize. But for the woman who sent her video and picture asking for help, please assist. I already called out her number. Her bank is Keystone Bank. Her name is Joy Musa. So kindly help out as best as you can. My name is Esther Nwachukwu. Good evening. Thank you for staying.